What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tekken 8 Basics Guide playlist. In this video, we're going to be talking about movement. It seems pretty simple to just move your character around the field. There's actually a lot of complexity built into it in this game, especially being a 3D game. If you're used to a two-dimensional game like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, you just kind of move forward and backwards and you jump. This game has that and a whole other freedom of movement direction that you got to concern yourself with. So we're going to look at all that, and we're going to look at all the advanced movement techniques like crouch dashes and instant running and stuff like that you might need. But let's start with the basics. If you look at Tekken as a two-dimensional game, if you were to hold your controller or your stick with the directions parallel to your screen and just look at it, right? You got right and left that make your character move forward and backwards. You just hold them in and they'll walk forward, hold in left, and you'll walk backwards. Obviously, this is reversed if you end up on the player 2 side, right, like I am now. Now left moves me towards them. So we always refer to this as forward and back. F and B in your notations, forward and back means walking towards your opponent or going back away from your opponent, which changes depending on your side, right? Obviously, you have to get used to left and right switching on you. Not a big deal. Forward and backwards, towards and away from your opponent. You can hold them in and you'll walk. But if you double tap them, you'll take a quicker little dash. Forward takes a nice big dash. Backdash is a little bit small, but it's useful. If you just kind of like jab and then backdash, that's really useful for keeping yourself at like a safer distance. There's an advanced technique we call Korean backdash canceling that it lets you do, multiple backdashes together. This is kind of slow, but it's actually pretty effective in this game. I'm just mashing back and I'm taking consecutive backdashes. They made this decent in Tekken 8, but there is backdash canceling that works a little bit better if you want to learn how to do it. There'll be links to videos, tutorials that can explain it better than I can down below. Don't need to spend a ton of time on it, but that resource will be there when you get to that point. Not something you need to know anytime soon if you're watching a basics movement guide, right? That's way down the road. So forward makes a quick forward dash, back makes a little dash. If you double tap and hold forward, they'll run. They'll take a full stride of running, and you get some different moves. Pretty much every character has like a running jump kick like that. So running has a few advantages, and you can actually run like over pretty short distances, but double tap and holding the forward lets you run. You can't do this backwards. You can't run backwards. So that's forward and backwards. That's your X dimension, toward and away from your opponent. If you hold down, they will crouch. And if you hold up, they will jump. And this is true for all three. Up and back makes them jump backwards. Up and forward makes them jump forward. And just straight up makes them jump straight up in the air. Down is the same thing. If you hold down and back, they'll block while they're crouching. If you just hold straight down, they'll just stand there and crouch. Down forward, they have this little crawl that they can do, which is kind of a weird animation, but it's also got its uses too. So holding up and down gives you jumping and crouching. That's your Y dimension, just like in a Street Fighter game. A Street Fighter game is mostly just moving towards your opponent and jumping sometimes, right? That's your two dimensions. You're not going to jump actively a lot in Tekken, but it's more like jump is built into your moves. If you press up, forward, and 3 at the same time, for example, you get that jumping kick. Up, forward, and 4 does that. The jump is built into your moves, as well as some other moves that have like crouch properties like this, right? I'm crouching, and I do that move, and I stay crouching. That's kind of how a lot of jumping will work in this game, is you'll jump over lows and you'll duck under highs by doing moves that have jump and crouch properties. You don't really jump and then attack in this game. It does exist, but it's not really a thing. So that's it for the two-dimensional approach, right? You move towards your opponent along the ground and you jump and crouch up and down. So let's take a look at adding the Z dimension, forward and backwards. If you take your controller this time and you hold it so that your directions are parallel to the floor, and then if you look down at the directions, forward and back, left and right are still the same thing, right? They move your character towards and away from your opponent. But now if you tap up, they'll sidestep. If you tap down, they'll sidestep in the opposite direction. So up is moving your character away from you into the background. And down is moving your character towards you into the foreground, right? So if you think about it as just tapping, these are the three-dimensional functions of up and down, right? Move parallel to the ground. And if you hold them, These are the two-dimensional versions of up and down, perpendicular to the ground, right? That's kind of all you really have to think about. Is if I want upward movement, if I want to jump or whatever, I can hold it, and holding down makes me crouch. If I want to move side to side, I just tap. Sidestep, tap, sidestep. And just like the forward direction, if you dash and hold it, you can do this with sidewalking too. Double tap up and hold it, or double tap down and hold it, and it will walk in a direction. This is basically just a single sidestep, and they do it continuously. They have slightly different properties, slightly different usages. For the most part, when you learn how to sidestep in this game, that's kind of all you need. Learning to sidewalk is not as practical in my opinion, but it's there. So that's the basics of moving your character's feet across the ground, right, towards your opponent. The X direction, the Y direction, and also the Z direction. Full 3D game. So there's lots of other stuff that you can do on top of this. We talked about if you double tap and hold forward, they'll run. This game has always had a built-in shortcut for what we call instant running. You usually see it in the move list. Towards the bottom. Damn character there, right there. That's a triple tap and hold. And then you press 3. This is called instant running. If you have like a nice distance, right? I just start running and press 3. Get that jump kick. But I can do that from like here. I just triple tap forward. You'll get an instant running state like the command list showed. This is a lot easier to do in Tekken 8 because up before in previous games, when you ran into your opponent like that, it would cancel your dash. In this game, you can see when I triple tap, she takes a running step. Even though the opponent is right there, she just backs them off. This is what allows you to just be standing right there and go triple tap into an instant while running 3. Rather than running and then 3, you can instantly run and do 3 like that. That's a pretty useful technique. There's a lot of cool stuff that can be done with that. A lot of characters have unique running moves like Dragunov or Elisa, for example. Azucena, if you dare speak her name. But instant while running is kind of cool. A lot easier to do in this game. Can be useful. Pretty much every character has that running 3, that jump kick that's very plus on block. Right? If you're just doing that, point blank on people, that can actually be really useful. You have a full crouching state by just holding down or down and back. And we talked about this down forward movement has some weird stuff. This little sweep Leo does is down forward from a crouching state. If you press down forward 3 while she's standing, you get this move, right? Down forward plus 3. But if I'm crouching and I press down forward plus 3, I get that. That's a move that comes from a crouching state. So you have to be able to crouch, not only just to duck highs and to block low, but there's a lot of moves that come out of it. And to that end, there are moves that leave you in a crouching state. Like I can do this down 1, and I just hold down. You notice Leo doesn't stand up. I just keep her in crouch. There's a lot of moves that are going to be able to do stuff like that. Down forward 2 plus 3, for example. That move automatically forces Leo to crouch. And you can stay that way. So getting in and out of crouch can actually be kind of a useful movement technique, especially if your character has stuff from a crouching position, like this particular sweep kick. Pretty cool. Some moves can do that automatically, and some moves give you the option. You're going to have to remember that. If you're doing something, say, I know this is my regular 4 button, right? And if I do a move like this, and I press 4, well, look what I get. I automatically get while standing 4, not regular 4. That tells me I'm crouching when I'm pressing the 4. Even though you can see in the command list on the left, all I'm pressing is 4. My character is crouching when I do so because that last move left her crouching. So you kind of have to be aware of that a lot of times. Some opponents' attacks can leave you in a crouching state involuntarily. So you got to learn how to move around that. So while you're in that crouching state, you have moves that you can do that are unique to that. But also getting out of crouch has a couple of interesting options. We've briefly mentioned these while standing moves. When I do this move, I'm in crouch. And I do this 4 kick, that's what comes out. Because I'm crouching, I get while standing 4 as I exit crouch. As you let go of your crouch, you press a button immediately, and this move comes out during the process of standing up. This is called a while standing move. I feel like Tekken would have been way better off to just have it be a move from crouch, right? I just crouch and press 4, and I get that. It'd been way simpler, but here we are 30 years later. So think of letting go as just pressing a button and it's tap, tap. Let go 4, let go 2, just like that. So from the crouching state, you have a select set of moves that you could do to exit crouch and go back to whatever you're doing, but you don't have to do anything. You can just let it go and stand up if you want to. Like if the opponent forces you into crouch, you'll just stand up on your own. It's okay, but it's sometimes not the best thing you could do. There are quicker things you can do to get out of that situation. And not only used in this one, but in other cases like this, I can cancel my crouch. Basically, crouching can be canceled like any other type of movement in Tekken, right? You just sidestep and blah, blah, blah in circles. You can cancel your crouch as well. So when you're crouching, you can just press up and sidestep. That up is unique, right? I can only go left when I'm on this side of the screen. When I'm on this side of the screen, I can only go to my right. You can't sidestep down from crouch because it is down. The game just won't let you do that. So that can be a factor in some high level. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. All you need to know is that when you're in crouch, you can sidestep up to get out of that crouch. Especially good for situations where they force you into that pressure. They make you crouch to limit your options. You just sidestep out of there. That works really, really well. You can also cancel your crouch with any other kind of movement, which basically you have forward and back dash. You can just press back, back, or you can press forward, forward to dash out of it. You don't have to stand up and do it. You can do it directly from crouch. So look at this example where I'm in here. I do this move, leaving me in crouch, and I just press 2. I get while standing, right? But if I press forward, forward 2, I get that. Because pressing forward, forward cancels that into a dash, right? You can see she's crouching, and then she immediately goes into a dash, one right into the other. As soon as this move is recovered, out comes a dash. And dashing results in that. Forward, forward 2 is that punch. So canceling your crouch is actually kind of cool. It can sort of just eliminate it altogether. You don't have to worry about being in crouch, or you can plan around it. Like I'm going to do this so I can stay in crouch, then do this move, then do this move and dash out of it, right? Because when they see this, right, they're usually going to think, okay, I know she recovers crouching. I better be careful of this move. But when you see that, okay, well, let me just do this and come up with a mid, right? There's lots of things you can do with this. It's just another layer of complexity. Crouch isn't the end of the world when they keep forcing you into it. You can sidestep out of it or you can backdash or whatever. So crouch canceling is actually kind of cool. It's just very unorthodox if you're new to this kind of fighting game. The last major kind of movement I want to talk about is the command dash. Everybody can press back, back or forward, forward to do these quick little dashes. But a lot of characters have a unique dash, something that's a little bit different, done by a very specific command. You'll see Reina do a little spin out of some moves. You'll see King do this big running Jaguar charge. Shaheen has this little slippery stealth step sort of thing. These are command dashes. These are dashes. They launch you toward the opponent, right? And you have a specific set of moves out of this dash. Just like forward, forward has moves. This is forward, forward 2. This is forward, forward 3. When you do that dash, there's moves out of it. So these command dashes also have moves. Leo's is a type that we call a roll dash. It's one of the more conventional Tekken methods. The things that Reina and Shaheen and all that can do are unique to the character and kind of their moves are based around it. This roll dash was around in Tekken since the beginning. A lot of characters can do it. Paul and Nina and Brian, stuff like that. Leo has it now too. You can see from the command list on the left what I'm actually doing is just a quarter circle. If you're familiar with 2D fighters, all I'm doing is a quarter circle. You can see it over there. But if you look at it in the move list, it looks like that. Down, down, forward, forward. You just start from down and you move your direction in a circular pattern until you get to forward. You're just doing a quarter of that circle. Down to forward in a circular pattern. You get that, all right? This is a roll dash, as we call it. It's a kind of crouch dash because you notice it lets her crouch in the beginning. You can go under high attacks. Just don't get crazy with it. You're not invincible or anything. But it's a crouch dash. It crouches as you kind of move in on them. You'll see boxers do a stuff kind of like this. They kind of bob and weave into their opponent. That little bob is letting them try to go under, certain kind of jabs that might be coming at them or good under their defensive angle. So this crouch dash is kind of inspired by that, I suppose. Quarter circle forward does this. There's another type of crouch dash called just the Mishima crouch dash. It's a different input. It's a similar thing. It looks just like that, but it's a very different input in a different system. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Leo's particular kind of roll dash is the quarter circle forward, as we see. And it has several moves that come out of it, right? Quarter circle, and then you press 1, you get that low. Press quarter circle and press 2, you get that, right? All these moves that can be done during this dash. Now, if you look on the little note there, it just says down, down, forward, and hold it. This is what I call like a half roll dash. Does that. You hear the sound, right? You hear that whoosh they make. Whoosh. This is my quarter circle. Whoosh. When I do down, down, forward, you hear that same whoosh. But instead, what she does is stay crouching in this position. And in fact, even if I don't, you can see up in the command list, the ones where it doesn't press forward, these actually result in a different thing. What you get out of this is while standing moves. For example, crouch dash 2, quarter circle forward 2 is this, right? If I do the quarter circle and press 2, I get that. If I do the little half dash, I get a while standing 2 out of the end of it. What's the difference? The difference is I'm not completing the forward. If you did the whole 3 down on forward input, right? That's what you get the move called Jinbu, the crouch dash. If you don't complete that, you are in a crouching state. That down forward leaves her crouching, and you get while standing moves out of it. But the catch here is doing it this way causes a little bit of a roll dash in the beginning. So instead of just crouching to do while standing 2, I can do that. I can do that whoosh into while standing 2. Kind of an interesting idea. If they're getting used to seeing you do crouch dash stuff and you keep doing this low, for example, you can whoosh into while standing 2 and hit them with a mid or whatever it might be. So I call this a half roll dash or a fake roll dash. It's actually pretty important. And if you're going to use a character like this that has all of these transitions and stuff like that and different moves that come out of everything, you know, this is kind of an important skill to use. It's another layer of offense for them to be able to use. Because a lot of cases, you don't have everything that you need. An example of this is Lily's Do Glide. She no longer has a low attack out of Do Glide. She does her crouch dash and she does like the plie and she does the punch and all that stuff. There's not a low attack out of that. But if she did the little fake roll dash into crouching, she has crouching lows that she can hit you with. So being able to mix that up in the midst of real roll dashes is kind of useful. That's sort of an advanced thing for your, beginning learning process, but it's something to think about. If you're a character that has this sort of roll dash, this is definitely something you're going to need eventually. So it's best to talk about it now so you understand what it is when you get there. When you see people, oh, how is he doing this with my character? This is how in some cases. It's just a slight little variation of one of the basic concepts. The roll dash is a pretty basic thing. You're going to need that all the time. You're going to use that every day. But having this little fake roll dash is actually kind of cool and has a lot of advantageous uses. In addition to the quarter circle, there's a lot of moves that let you transition into your crouch dashes. And again, most characters like Reina, we talked about, they can do this as well. You'll have moves, say like this stance, right? I do this knee lift. If I just press down forward, boom, there's my roll dash. There's quarter circle 2. There's, 4, et cetera, et cetera. What's different about this is you cannot choose which one you're getting. You get the full crouch dash. You cannot do the fake roll dash stuff out of this technique. When you transition like this, you're getting the regular crouch dash. You can't do it. Nina used to be able to do that, and I think they took that out. Unless they made it a different way to do it. Nina used to be able to choose when she would do this stuff. Am I going to get the full roll dash and that too? Or am I going to get like the half roll dash and that too? She could pick. But for right now, when you do a move that transitions you into your crouch dash, you don't have to do any other inputs. It's nice and easy, right? You can just, there's my quarter circle 3. But you do not get to choose the half dash, which is, fine, right? It's not the end of the world. You do this, here's your choices. You just lose that extra little layer of choices that you get when you do stuff manually. If I do it manually, I can choose to do the whoosh like that. Another thing that's cool to note is these can be canceled directly into sidestep. As soon as they start, they're cancelable. Like you might not even notice it doing, but you heard the whoosh there, right? Look at the input history on the left. There you see the quarter circle. A 4-frame gap, and then I pressed up. 5-frame gap, and then I pressed up. She does the whoosh. I'm doing a crouch dash, and then I'm immediately pressing sidestep. It works. I'm crouched for an instant, but I can cancel right out of sidestep. What this does is let you get more options out of that, right? Say I'm doing this, and I don't want to commit to something from the roll dash. I just do that. Boom. I can backdash out of it. You know what I mean? I can cancel that just like I can cancel anything else. Sidestepping is usually a really good one. And again, you can see this in combos. Some characters can do, you know, looping stuff. You know, weird. I don't know how to do it. It's you can do this into crouch dash and then cancel and do it again. They can do it so fast. Lily's the same thing. You'll see Lily do back 1 loops. Nina could do like while standing 1 loops by just learning how to cancel this stuff. Again, not something you need on your first day, but it does exist. Just to see how powerful this crouch dash technique actually is. You know, this set of moves, you can get access to your crouching moves, and you still have full movement out of it. So you set them up for, okay, here comes some crouch dash shenanigans, sidestep, and you hit them. You know what I mean? The options are there. The Mishima crouch dash is the same fundamentally. It's just a whole different sort of input system. All I really want to say about it here is the input is another Street Fighter. You saw this character, the roll dash is a fireball, right? Down, down, forward, forward. The Mishima crouch dash is the dragon punch from Street Fighter. You press forward, then down, down, forward, like you see in the note. You do not need to complete the circle. You just press forward and then that little half dash. That's how Mishima's crouch dash. And the main way that it's different is being able to chain them together in what they call a wave dash. You'll see Mishima players just go woo, 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 woo at their opponent. And you'll see a lot of commentators call it wavu wavu. You know, just like a joke about the term wave dash and how like fast and kooky it looks. What they're doing is just one crouch dash into another because the way the input system works, there's no delay. It's just boom, 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 boom. It's canceling a dash into a dash, into a dash, into a dash. These can't really do this. I can sidestep, you know, cancel each one, do it faster, but that's not really important. Mishima's is way faster. If you do it the right way, you can cancel those like fan blades. You know, a fan blade going brrr. You can see Mishima players doing wave dashes where their guy just goes brrr across the screen. So that differs in that way that its input structure is actually very different. But you can do the same things. You can do a Mishima crouch dash and cancel into while standing state or cancel into forward moves, stuff like that. It's all the same concept, just a very different level of execution. We talked about how moves can transition into these roll dashes. Mishimas cannot do that. Mishimas historically have never had these stances or cancels or transitions. They're more of a pure fighter in that sense. The only thing we have now is Jin is able to do this. Jin has like 2 moves. That back 2 claw swipe, I think, is one of them. I forget what the other one is. He can do those moves into Mishima crouch dash, which is unheard of. He gets access to the Electric Wind God Fist and the Hell Sweep and all that stuff out of a transition. Other Mishimas can't do that. Reina almost has that because she's got a lot of crazy movement things. She can only do it from other movement. She can do her wave dash out of other moving around stuff, but not out of attacks. Being able to do like attacks into stances is not a very Mishima thing, but Jin can do that now. So for the most part, both crouch dashes are the same kind of thing. They're a way to get at your opponent, a little bit of a sneaky dodge in there with a set of moves. Sometimes you get access to your crouching moves and you get access to other movement to start faking people out. So command dashes are kind of cool for that. It's another little like situational time for you to attack. And the set of moves you get in these dashes is usually pretty good. There's usually a mix up in it. There's usually something cool. There's a reason to want to do this stuff. And then on top of that, you have other layers like faking them out, canceling, running away, etc., etc. And Mishima players use it just for pure intimidation. When they come wavu, wavu, wavu at you like Mike Tyson, you get paralyzed for a second. You're not quite sure what to do. And it's too late because they're so fast at doing it. So that's all I want to say about that. I'm going to link videos down below about Mishima Wave Dash. They're Tekken 7 videos, but it works exactly the same way now. Check those out. I think that's a nice, quick way to learn. It just so happens they're from Q-Downs and JDCR, so the English is suspect, but you'll get the point. Tekken's a universal language, and you'll figure out what they're talking about. So Mishima wave dashing is kind of cool. Links to that down below, so I don't have to talk about it any further. And the last advanced thing that I want to cover is what we mentioned at the very beginning, Korean backdash canceling. It's a way to backdash better than just doing this. Like, you can see there's a little bit of hesitation. I'm just mashing back. It's not bad. They made it way better in Tekken 8 on purpose. But you can see when I do it like correctly, those last 3 little hops are way quicker and cleaner. I'm not very good at that on a D-pad. But again, videos down below is basically the idea of it's a wave dash in reverse. It's canceling a backdash into another backdash, but doing it better than just the easy way. It's a very advanced technique, but it does have its advantages. It looks cool doing it, but at the same time, like just being able to backdash into the sunset is kind of like a boring part of Tekken that they sort of wanted to get rid of. They didn't want you to be able to pick Zafina and just run away forever and ever and ever like they were doing. So backdashing is still really good. It's very important to control space. But Korean backdash canceling, in my opinion, is not as important as it was. And even then, if you just learn to do like 2 of them, you know, just quick, boom, boom, that's fine. You're good right there. That's most of the space you generally need. The rest of it is just kind of like completing the set. I want to learn how to do this just so I know everything, and that's it. So be sure to check those out down below, but do so at your own pace. This was a lot of stuff to kind of take in. If you're watching this video to learn how to move your character around the screen, a lot of that is way too advanced. But as you see through the course of this video, it's all built on a premise. It's built on a premise of being able to move in 3 dimensions and being able to move freely in one method to another, including walking, running, dashing, crouching, etc., etc. So there's timestamps down below. There's a Google Doc that kind of lists the outline of what I talked about. Go check that stuff out. It really helps to learn by just reiterating, right? Seeing it, doing it, reading it in text. See it, do it, read it over and over again. I think that really helps the learning process. So again, do this at your own pace. Check it out. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave comments below. I answer them as best as I can. Anything else you think I might have forgot? They're like, oh, well, what about this? I see people, I could have forgotten something easily. Definitely let me know. I'll try to cover it as best I can. So that's going to do it for this one. There's also a link below to the playlist of all the other basics videos, movement, buttons, blocking, all that sort of stuff, how combos work. Check those out too as they get filled in. For right now, the Tekken 7 videos are still valid. As I do new ones for Tekken 8, still pretty much the same thing. So check those out if you need any other help. And hopefully I will see you out there in one of those other videos. So until then, be sure to click subscribe and notification and all that stuff to make sure you get alerts for when those videos are out. And I'll see you there. Later.